Welcome to the Waiting List podcast. Tell us a story.
It's like many things you start building from scratch.
And then I'm like, wait, I really do like watches because
you've seen so many watches that makes you excited.
I think I really do like watches.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to see if you are a watch enthusiast.
Thank you everyone for tuning into part 2 of Daniel Sum's podcast. So actually, Daniel is the founder of the Shanghai Watch Gang and also the Shanghai Watch Festival. So if you haven't heard part 1, I would suggest you to do so. But this is part 2. So welcome, Daniel, again.
Thanks
Welcome.
guys.
And with Long. So I think the last episode, we was mainly talking about the creation of Shanghai Watch Gang and kind of how you was developing that. This time, I'm more curious about your actual watch collection.
Yeah, go for it.
So the first one, because you said a lot of people think you're a baller, and you touched upon you started off 2 Omegas and 2 Rolexes. So I'm more curious, before that, what was that first watch that got you into watches?
I would say the Omega Seamaster Professional, the one with the blue wavy dial at the back, so the Piers Brosnan 1007 one, that one.
Was that automatic or quartz movement?
Automatic. Actually, having said that, the one he wears is a quartz. I was going to say like effing quartz, but it's a quartz, right? It's quartz watches are okay, kind of. But yeah, I bought the automatic one.
Okay, so why did you choose? Okay, so typically,
why did I choose that watch?
Yeah, because typically most people go for Rolexes. So
yeah, well, okay. So first of all, a friend of mine had just bought a Rolex Datejust. Right, a vintage Rolex Datejust from New Bond Street in London. So he showed me this watch, and that kind of got me really interested in watches, right? So I started reading up about watches, wondering, like, why would anybody spend this much on this, like, so much money on watches, right? So just educating myself, and I was educating myself and basically brainwashing myself. And then obviously came that time where I wanted my first piece. And I had the option, obviously, to go for the Rolex Sub or the Omega Seamaster. And the James Bond branding at the time was pretty strong. And I didn't want a Rolex, pretty much. Didn't want a Rolex because like everybody seemed to have them. And I just wanted a bit different. And I thought the blue would also be better to accessorize my clothing at the time.
Well, did you watch? I mean, okay, that was the marketing from Omega themselves. But if you read the books, I think he was wearing a Rolex.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, my research hadn't gone that deep. Where if you go to Dr. No, he's wearing a Rolex. I believe it's like a big crown, or it's got no crown guards, right?
That's right.
One of the first ones. Yes, and I think even in the book, he's not wearing. Well, later I found out that Omega just splashed a load of money in and basically changed that story.
So you got this watch. Was this when you was in dentistry, or was this when you was?
No, this was in dentistry with my own money.
Was in dentistry.
Yeah, it was a pre-owned watch.
Okay.
And I was working in Northampton at the time, and this watch was situated in Milton Keynes, which is the town next to Northampton. And I remember driving there late at night, thinking, "Fuck, man, this could turn out very bad." And the guy, this white guy, opened the door. I was like, come in. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Went in. He said, here it is. Had a look at it. And I'd obviously, because it's pre-owned, right, all that due diligence on the watch, you kind of have to know before you actually buy it. Because, it's not like coming from an AD or where, somewhere where it's trusted. So for the whole 3 months before, I'd started reading like how the fakes were. Like, and I actually realized, I'll tell you something about that watch.
Yeah.
At that time, the fake, it's got a helium release valve.
Okay.
So the helium release valve is around the 10 o'clock space.
Okay. Yeah.
But on the real one, it's actually lower or higher. Or it's a different position. And it's quite obvious.
Yeah.
That, and you can tell, because most of the time you only tell a fake watch and a real watch by putting them together, right? But you can tell because on the indices, it has a different position related to the 10. So I can't remember if it's higher or lower, but it's very obvious. So you don't need the watch next to you. And that's because the movement they use only allows them to put it there, right, in the fake watch, right, at that time. And then there's also the laser etching and all this kind of stuff on the watch. And it was full set as well, so that kind of gave me peace of mind. And then I asked the guy, actually, why are you selling it? And he goes, because I always wanted to know, like, why are you selling it, right? Like, is there something dodgy about it? And he said, because I want a Breitling now. And I was like, okay. I'll take this off you then.
I don't think you're improving.
I think he thought he was young.
Okay.
He was young. Okay. He was like 30, 28, something like that, 28, 30.
But was it that research, that 3-month period when you was constantly reading about this particular watch, when you started going down this rabbit hole of looking at watches then?
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. That was the start for you.
Loads. I was just reading a lot of watches, reading a lot about all the flagship models for all the brands, just educating myself all round. Yeah. And every time it got really bad. I mean, every time I went out, I went missing. Because it was like the watch store, the most annoying person ever. Where's Daniel? Oh, where's the nearest watch store? That's where he'll be. And then also, as I mentioned in my last podcast, I was doing like specialty in dentistry. So I was doing extra work at home. I mean, I'm a big football fan as well, so I was watching football. But every time I was doing any of these, I had my iPad in front of me, and like Hodinkee or someone like Watch Blog was open, or YouTube video was open. It's like half looking at watches at the time. Before I went to bed, I was reading about watches. Yeah, I just got bitten really hard.
That's cool. Is Milton Keynes quite a safe place, or?
Well, I don't think the UK is very safe. Full stop. Right now, and. Yeah, I just wouldn't think anywhere is safe. If you go to most city centres or town centres now in England, they're not actually... Well, it's just very rough. Okay. It's full of chavs. It's full of like... I don't want to stereotype, but like Eastern Europeans, right? That seem to like want to stick together. I mean, the UK champions on about multiculturalism and stuff like that. Yeah. But actually, it's got all these populations in there, but they don't want to mix with each other. I'm telling you, they don't want to mix with each other. There are obviously some people that are okay to mix with. The majority don't. Like, you know what I'm talking about, Alex, right? You go to Hounslow and to Slough, those aren't like places where Asians hang out. Like, Orientals hang out.
Asians.
Yeah, they're where Asians hang out, right? You don't want to be down there, like, on a Saturday night, by yourself. Yeah, and this, like, BMW 3 Series pulls up, right? No, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah,
you're like, okay,
you need to get out of there quick, right? It's not safe.
Wow, sounds scary.
Well, it's improved a lot. I mean, it's not as... It's pretty bad still, but not as bad as what it was back then.
And then there's always, like, when anti-Chinese sentiment, although, like, Chinese probably don't get it as bad as other ethnicities.
We still get it.
You still get it because there's a jealousy of the wealth.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going off topic slightly, but I mean, in regards to your collecting philosophies, because you've developed a very unique taste.
Do you think?
I think so. Yeah, because you're well diversified. It's not just like I just want the baller pieces, which is easy to be swayed through. Your Shanghai watch gang. You actually collect a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what makes you purchase that piece?
Well, okay. So my collection, how can I say, a Shanghai watch gang, right, has definitely influenced my path of collecting, because suddenly I've managed to see all these pieces that most people would never ever see. I'm very fortunate. By the way, I know I'm very fortunate to be in that position. And therefore, I've had a lot of experience of watches. Let me just say, like, there's people out there that in the gang, a lot of my friends, that will just say, take the piece. Wear it for a week or two. Just give it to me next time, right? We're talking about, like, ridiculous pieces here. I'm not going to say which ones, but, like, ridiculous pieces. So in that regard, I can get a lot of experience of a watch, of owning it, get past that initial impulse buy and think, do I actually really want it? So conversely, I always have to think, do I really want the piece? Which piece do I really want to put them? I'm sorry, I'm boring you there. Look, that's a big yawn.
No, something was in my eye.
Yeah, right.
No, that was a big yawn.
But nah, I have to really think where I'm going to put my money down. So it has to be something where constantly I'm coming back to all the time. Then I think, okay, and that normally takes about 3 to 6 months for me. So I don't really do the impulse buy thing because, to be honest, I can get the pieces anyway. Yeah.
So the rule of thumb is kind of like, wait 3 to 6 months, you're still going back to it, you're still researching about it, you want it.
A lot of watch collectors, they have that really strong impulse. Oh, I really love this right now, right? But it's like that really hot girl with not a lot of substance. You like go out with her like for the first date and think, wow, she's really hot. Yeah. And then like after a few times you realize, one, she's maybe just a trophy girl, and two, she's got nothing in between the ears. Right. Yeah. And then you like lose interest completely.
Okay. So I'm really curious now. So what is your favorite watch in your collection? And do you think you ever sell it?
Lange Sohne.
Okay.
100%. Because this was, okay, so Lange came in and helped us supported us in the first Shanghai Watch Festival. So that was a really big thing for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to repay that kind of support to Lange. And as I started to read more about that brand, I realized that that brand actually really, really resonated with me. You know, their beliefs and how they carry themselves, everything, the exclusivity, the low production numbers, the quality, the fact that the brand isn't that showy, all of those elements really actually kind of like me. So the chronograph, everybody knows like Lange is king of the chronograph, right? So I had to get a chronograph. And then when you think of the most iconic one that Lange does, it's the datograph. Yeah.
Because I think that point, actually, because that's quite a recent purchase then, because I thought you had that watch forever, basically.
No, I had it for like a couple of years now. Right. And I'd seen it before, and I'd tried it on before, and it was just gone, but then kept on coming back to me. And then running the festival was so difficult, and running the second year was really difficult as well, that watches also seem to kind of snapshot memories for you. So you remember certain parts of your life, what you experienced through the watch when you look at it. And that's why it will never leave. Actually, most of my watches will never leave my collection.
But that particular piece, because I think everyone is associated with one watch, and that piece with you does really bond well with you. Seriously.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it does.
It's like Harry Potter, that one chooses the wizard.
Yeah, why did you choose the differograph, like the first gen? Because I would think for a lot of people, the first Lange watch might actually be Lange 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, I just think when you turn the datograph over and that movement, it's just banging. Like, you have to take breath when you see that. And then with the Lange 1, yes, I know the difficulty with doing three-quarter play and even the finishing on that, even though three-quarters of the movement's covered, is better than like a lot of... I'd rather see that than shit. Yeah?
Yeah.
And the Lange 1, very Lange.
Yeah.
But the datograph for me was another level.
Did you consider the up-down?
The one with the up-down at 6 o'clock,
you
mean? Well, you see, I think the balance of the dial is kind of affected by having that up-down
power reserve
there at 6 o'clock. And also, I like the Roman numerals. I like the smaller case size. The datograph is a stubby kind of watch.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a svelte kind of watch.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think the proportions of the watch from diameter to thickness are best represented in the first generation, then the second generation, and subsequent editions.
Okay.
And I think it's one of those where you go to any watch event situation, it's always going to be the great watch there. Like, it's always going to be like right up there.
Yeah, that's
respected.
Again, one of the reasons why I bought it, because I always have to think, okay, now I run the Shanghai Watch, and I do a lot of things within the watch industry. What kind of persona do I want to give off, right? What do I want information do I want to give off about myself, right? And Lange, is a collector's watch. Mm-hmm. It's a collector, you have to get a connoisseur's watch.
Yeah.
You have to get to a certain level where you don't give a damn too much about the brand, right? But you really know what you're buying.
So if you wore a Sapphire RM, what would it say about the Shanghai Watch Festival?
I'll get out first of all. I'll be the first one to leave. I'm not associated with this guy.
But then it's like he's made it.
Well, I think anybody that's wearing a Sapphire RM, right? It's pretty hard to gain that much information apart from you had. Well, I don't know if it says that. Like, you had a lot of disposable income, and you decided to buy that, and whether you know what you're doing is another kind of question mark.
Yeah.
You might know. I'm not saying you don't know, by the way. I'm just saying you might not know.
Yeah.
So are there any pieces that you regret buying in your collection?
Any pieces that I regret buying? No, I don't think so.
Okay. And then have you ever had any terrible buying experiences that people can maybe learn
Well, actually, there is one, actually.
Okay.
The
Fake one?
No, the Amiga Speedmaster.
Oh, really? Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
so a lot of Speedy Tuesday people.
I didn't buy that watch though.
Well, he was given it.
He stole it.
I claimed it from insurance.
What?
AKA he stole it.
All right, no, you need to say this. I'm sorry, put this out there.
I claimed it from insurance because I got burgled.
Right.
Yeah, so I lost a few watches, and then I got given a voucher where I could spend at a certain retailer, and the retailer had I remember Breitling, Omega, Chopard, maybe I don't know if it's Chopard, Chanel, right? And then like Lange Sohne, like these other ones, right? So I was like, okay, well, I'm only left with Omega.
Yeah, because Swatch Group, right?
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with the Speedy. Yeah, it's like very iconic piece, great history, always kind of wanted one. So I went for that one, and I never really took to it. Like, I thought that the dial was, because it's got a thin bezel on the edge, so the watch actually wears larger than, I changed the straps, numerous straps. I just couldn't get myself to really like it. Another thing is when you wear it, yes, it's an iconic piece, but it never gets a second look because everybody knows the piece, right? So it's not special enough. And then Omega decided to market the hell out of the like Moonwatch by making like numerous like limited editions. It kind of detracts away from the Moonwatch. I'm actually thinking of getting the Speedy 57. So the 38 millimeters stainless steel, back to the old caliber, and the broad arrow hands, which is the like very very first like tune. I think it's 2915, CK2915 model reference. That's a smaller case, and I think that might look really nice. Obviously, I'd love to get the original one, but I think it's trading plus like over 100k US.
Yeah. It's actually kind of interesting that you said people just don't take a second look at it, right? Because I think about the Rolex Daytona, maybe like 5 to 10 years ago, nobody would say, "Hey, take it off. Can I take a look?" But now everybody that wears a Daytona, whichever material it's made in, everyone's like, "Can I see?" And I'm like, "What are you looking at?" Because you never looked at it ages ago, and now you're looking at it because it's hyped up, right?
There's that, and I think we were at dinner the other day, and we were talking about this. Is that my world, probably in terms of watch exposure, is so small and so different to everybody else's. Where on the table, I'll have. Okay, for example, on the table we had what, 3970 frosted white gold double balance, Lange Lumen, Lange 1 Lumen,
Cartier Crash,
Cartier Crash,
FP
Jaune, Richard Mille, right, 1103, all these pieces. People never get to see these pieces. Like even collectors that collect watches may not even attain these pieces. And you had the IP as well, right? I mean, the just list goes on, right? But right there, they're in front of me, accessible, and I'm seeing them pretty often. So I don't think I can think when I think about Shanghai Watch Gang, what I want to do with the culture. I can't always use my perspective to think about it. Yeah. I mean, the Daytona was there, the Pepsi was there. I mean, everything was there.
Yeah.
Right, okay, this is going to be a very tough one for you then. So, what is that grail piece? And even if you did get it, do you think that'll end your watch collecting game?
No, I don't think it will end my watch collecting game. But it's the 5004A from Patek. So the split second perpetual chronograph. That is very expensive right now. I'd love to own one of those one day. I believe I will. But for me, it's such a momentous piece. It has to tie in with something in my personal development to mark a certain milestone.
When we did the Insta Live last night with Calvin, Calvin doesn't believe in grails because he's like, how can it be a grail? Like, if you can't buy it and like, just it's not even attainable. Why is there a list, right? It made a lot of sense. Like, I feel like grail is basically, like now I think about it, you're basically delaying a purchase. So it's not that it's unattainable. It's just you're delaying something.
It's a mindset, isn't it? If you think it's unattainable, then it will always be unattainable.
Maybe we should change the word from not holy grail, because I associate it with being your hero piece. Like you should never meet your heroes or the thing that you really dream of. I think actually that should be the better term.
Well, I mean, there's not one piece out there that I don't think I can't get.
Yeah.
One day.
I agree.
That's kind of it. Yeah.
Okay, so now you deal with a lot of different brands. Which one is your favorite brand at the moment in time? Doing the right things that you like.
Well, just because a brand's doing the right things, or the wrong things, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the brand that speaks the most to me. But I'd still have to say Lange right now. I mean, I love the CEO, Wilhelm, like the way he comes across. I love that it's still a small quantity manufactured every year. I actually love the designs of the watches. I love the quality that it's associated with.
Yeah.
So, and I love the discreetness of it.
What is it about Wilhelm or well, like any other watch CEO that you wish to see more of?
He's genuinely classy and polite, right? And respectful of other collectors. And he isn't flashy. I think that's a really key part as well.
Yeah.
You never feel like he's just flashing.
Okay.
Or flexing. He's never flexing.
Does it matter to you whether the CEO came from a watchmaking background or ran a watch company?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't, because most of the CEOs right now don't.
Yeah.
And it's just something that is just a fact.
Okay.
You know, so I just think, I think you guys know me. I'm not really this person to complain about stuff. I'm more like, let's get on with it. And I think
head down.
Head down. And I'm sure that, I don't agree with some of the stuff that a lot of CEOs do, but it is what it is.
Right. And I think what I'm curious about, because that ends the watch collection about your particular, your possessions. But I'm more curious about the previous episode about starting up your own business.
Yeah.
Because the good thing about these 2-part episodes is that we can bring back things that we forgot to ask you last time.
Go for it.
So I'm actually curious to know about what is the skills and traits you think about is important for starting up a business and what you should consider.
You've got to be able to listen to people, but then also have enough courage to go with your own gut feeling. You have to be able to actually have the courage to do stuff, to do something new, and not be afraid about what other people say. I think that's really kind of important. Then I think it's about seeing the people around you, understanding what makes them work and what doesn't work for them, and then trying to give them the platform where they can comfortably perform, and then also the confidence to excel. So I think you always have to transmit confidence to the team, and then give them even more confidence when things don't go well, or in their eyes haven't gone well, because you want to keep them because you can only be successful with the team around you. I don't believe you can just do it yourself. Yeah.
But you deal with so many different personalities. How do you balance those dynamics and relationships? Because that's the hardest part, I find.
Yeah, you have to have high EQ. Right. So I don't think everybody has it. If I'm being quite frank, you've got to be able to read into
He's got it right. I mean, he's blunt, but it's true.
You have to be able to read body language, verbal cues, all this information you're processing.
Yeah.
Without letting the person know that you're also processing all this information, and then also reacting in a way that that they'll be able to understand and pick up.
So for someone listening right now that's stuck in a job they hate, right?
Yeah.
And they have a great idea, and then they know they have very low EQ, right?
Yeah.
What's your advice? How do they get out
I'm not
of
saying
that
you need
job?
high EQ, but I'm saying it does help a lot.
Okay.
Right? But maybe you could partner up with somebody that has high EQ,
EQ.
right? Or somebody, you have to know your limitations.
Yes.
You have to know what balances you out. It's all about balance. So your team needs to be balanced with people that have a range of skills, and finding people that, a skill that I don't have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main thing is to move, to start.
Would you say quit your job, put 100% in, or would you say stay in your job and then move over when?
Okay. It depends on your financial security. I think if you're in that position where you're financially secure, you really only live once. And as you progress in life, you realize that life is really short.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that if you are that financial security and you had the chance to do stuff and you didn't do it, 100%, you're going to regret it. I regret not doing stuff earlier, right? So let alone not even doing it. Yep. And then for those people that aren't financially secure, then it's more time allocation. So can you allocate X amount of time in your schedule? And I mean, not doing weekends, not resting on the weekend.
Yeah.
Because there is no weekend. If you love what you do, there is no weekend.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you need to recharge, but you don't have to designate that weekend resting period on the weekend, right? Then that's one way to start a project, I think.
And actually, what I realized when you do business, I think one of your biggest attributes, or someone that contributes to you, is actually your family and your wife.
Yeah.
Because you don't talk about it really outside.
Yeah, I
So I'm
don't,
not sure.
yeah.
I know this is sensitive, but I mean,
It's not too sensitive.
okay.
Yeah.
What is the secret with the relationship and the dynamics with your wife? You know, being married for 10 years now, right?
Yeah.
So she must have helped contribute or given you a lot of space
Yeah,
with your business,
yeah,
right? How did
yeah.
you manage all that?
So she doesn't really get involved in any of my business.
Okay.
Right. And therefore she's given me like the free reign, free arena to really go and do stuff. And to me, that's supporting, right? She's never like me messaged and said like, oh, can you be back home at X amount, like set time? You know, she never really talks about money. For her, she's very clear in her mind. You know, her job is to kind of take care of the kids, take care of the family, give me that platform to perform. And she knows me really well. And she's like probably my best partner, you know. So I don't mention her because she's really not involved in a lot of the business. Mm-hmm. But I know at the same time she is championing me like the most. If anything happened to me, she'd be like the first there to catch me when I fall. And she has done many times.
And you've got two beautiful daughters, so I want to know as well. You mentioned this one thing to us that you'd be a proud father if they did this. So can you tell us that story?
Proud father. I can't remember what did I say.
I'll say how it is. Too many.
Yeah.
So I think when his daughters will have dinner with someone and they'll look at their watch and they'll be very respecting and they take off their watch and be equally as curious.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, you said that.
Oh,
and then
okay.
you go like, yeah, that's it. I'll buy them whatever watch they want. You're ready.
What was the question? Like,
it was kind of like, what would you feel proud of if your daughters did this?
Well, you can't force your kids to walk your path, right?
Right.
But if they had an interest in watches, then obviously I would wholly support that. For me, I just want my kids to find what they're calling in life, what they really want to do, what really makes them happy, and then find a way of somehow making that financially sustainable. That would be the proudest thing for me, would be if they had the courage to actually do that. Okay. Yeah, that would be the proudest thing.
Good. Wow. I mean,
that's touching. Yeah.
I mean, I want my kids to hurry up. If I do get kids one day, I want them to hurry up.
Well, I've got to say, like, I am very lucky that through this hobby, through this job, whatever you want to call it, I've met great people like the both of you. And I hope that we can all grow together and get to a place in life where we look back everything we've done, but then we have these relationships that, to be honest, when we see each other, we don't have to say anything.
We just smile
because we understood everything. And then obviously, you know, you'll have your own families, and then the intermingling of that is just like amazing, right? It's actually like, amazing.
That intimacy between us, right? Or between
like if I just dropped the kids off and I said, Lung, you know, put them in your company and give them a fucking hard time. Put them on your shittest employee that always gives you a hard time. Don't tell him who they are, and then just put them in there for 3 months, and then Alex, put them in your company, make them slave, on there, just put them because for me, I just want my kids grounded.
Dude,
I want them grounded.
If they work under Alex is going to be at work at 6, so they got to be there like 5.
I'm going to tell them that. You better be there at 5.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's never late.
Yeah. I want to tell them straight up that Uncle Alex, he doesn't take any fools.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to put up with you like once,
and
then any time he's going to have a word with you, and he's going to say something like, "Your dad's going to be disappointed in you," or something like that.
That's hard.
It won't be that hard. I'll be.
But you know what I mean? Like with this network of yes, it is watch collectors.
Yeah.
But the network of friends is amazing. Yeah.
I mean, that's the best thing in life, isn't it? You know, people that you work around with.
Yeah.
The relationships we share. Yeah, and the memories we make.
Yeah, absolutely. No. At that end, I mean, that is the end for those questions. And we have to jump over to the quickfire. That was a shame. That was too quick for me.
Yeah.
It's like...
Was it?
I'm going to have you again. Well, we're going to always have you, but I mean, like, probably interview
I can
properly.
I can talk a deer. Yeah, the ears off a dog, man.
So, okay. So for the quickfire, it's Hong Kong or London.
Hong Kong or London? I would have to say London.
Okay. Why? Oh.
Because London has a certain romance about it, right? That Hong Kong never has. Hong Kong is so commercial. And one thing about Hong Kong I don't like is you can't get lost in it. Well, in London, you might go lost and never come back, but you know.
Not in a good way, of course. Lost and never go back.
Okay, let's
Not
just
in a
paint
good
the setting.
way, right.
London, right, in around, let's say November
August.
time.
Oh no, okay.
November time, yeah. When you've got a little drizzle, you're dressed up in your warm in your anorak, and you're walking with your umbrella, and the pavement's wet, right, on the big flag pavements. Yeah, melancholy feeling, right. There's an element of intense joy, that you can experience that, but then touched with a hint of sadness. That is only where you see the bus coming along, the red bus, and name me another place that has that.
That sounds depressing.
So
me and Lil are like, what?
depressing.
That sounds
Yeah, 'cause
depressing.
But don't you feel like I feel like those times are always great for thought,
Okay.
self-thought. You like thinking
Right.
time,
skies.
just walking along. Yeah. I'm actually really depressed.
Okay. This is a moment of his life, I think, that we need to kind of sort out. I mean, okay, right.
So London, yeah.
Yes, got that. Sushi or dim sum?
Fuck, man. You
First
see,
world problems.
I know. First world problems. I'm gonna have to go sushi.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Cigars or shisha?
Shisha, 100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
easy one. Okay, so this one it's Curry TI28
Yeah.
or your Lange and Sohne datograph.
I guess this question means I'm only allowed one, right?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I'd have to go with the Lange.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's just because of nostalgia value. Like, that connection with Lange, I can't break it.
All right, this one definitely Lung will write this.
Yeah.
So no hair on your head. Or I have to stay focused on.
Stay composed.
Stay on face, hang on. I can't even read it out.
Lonely, you read it. What?
Okay. It's easy. Because I know he points these things out. No hair on your head or big pot belly that you can't get rid of.
I'd have to go no hair on my head.
No way.
Yeah, I'd have to go no hair on my head.
Because I know
Big
hair
pot
is
belly.
a big thing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can
Big
stay
pot
composed.
belly. Yeah. No, I can't deal with that belly, man. I can't deal with it. No. Yeah.
Well, you can always wear high
No,
waisted
because
pants.
because
Like,
no,
I
I'm
was-
thinking no high waist pants don't cover that kind of belly, man.
Like all the way.
I'm talking about like at least you can wear a wig or maybe have some surgery on your
You
head
mean-
to sort it out, right? Or wear a cap. You can wear a cap.
Yeah.
That can totally do your look, right? But a pot belly, what can you do, Alex? As a man in bespoke tailoring, is
Can't do
there?
anything about it. You can't do anything about it.
There you go.
Okay, I'm recovering. Okay, so
Can I ask you? Let me just flip that question
Wait, I
to
want to
you.
know what Alex would choose. Alex, what would you choose?
I'll agree with Daniel. You're there.
Okay.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Which one is least attractive to you in a guy?
I don't mind no hair. Just shave it off.
Okay, so
Vin Diesel
Yes.
and Dwayne Johnson, right?
okay, so I'm just thinking
Yeah.
if you shave Alex hair, you just see his bushy eyebrows.
I have very bushy eyebrows.
Let's
why
take
I
a
rather
moment
wear
of a
wigs.
minute's laughter there.
Jessica has to edit this out. Just do it.
So I'm suffering on that one, sorry. Okay, so one pair of shoes for the rest of your life or one watch for the rest of your life? So I'm assuming you have to
Hang
wear
on, let me
slippers or-
process that
Well,
question.
he has a lot of
So-
shoes.
One pair of shoes for the rest of your life or one watch for the rest of your life? As in, if you don't wear shoes, you have to wear slippers.
Yeah,
I'm
and
assuming?
it's not even nice shoes. It's not like a nice pair of killer shoes.
So I'm either allowed shoes
One,
or I'm
yeah.
allowed watches. That's the question,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Do that, okay.
I'm either allowed shoes or... Well, shoes are functional, right?
Yeah.
So I'll have to go shoes. Like, if I don't have any shoes, I'm going to walk around barefoot.
Yeah.
Well, you can have one pair.
Oh.
Just one pair.
So I'm allowed... If I'm...
Multiple watches and one pair of shoes.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
yeah.
assuming the question is...
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
have to go... I've got to go shoes.
All right.
Yeah.
Still? Okay. Bentley or Rolls Royce?
Bentley.
Okay. Favorite restaurant in Shanghai
Hulu.
and favorite restaurant in Hong Kong?
Hulu sushi, that was.
Sushi as well.
Favorite restaurant in Hong Kong. My most memorable meal. Oh, there's so many.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
my most memorable one is that one we went with Chester in that omakase.
Okay.
So that's the most memorable meal I've had in Hong Kong this last 6 months. But I've also liked the steak at Wolfgang.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
Solid.
good.
Yeah, that was rocking, wasn't it?
I had like a couple of clay pot rices.
Mm.
That was another memorable meal as well.
Got so many.
I've just not even forget the restaurant. Just opening a durian's fucking good.
He just hasn't had a bad meal.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have massive foodie friends like Lung Lung next to me
Thanks.
that not only eat at good places but need to have their tummy constantly fixed every 2 hours, right?
All right. So, streetwear or tailored suit?
I'm not going to let that go, actually.
Wait, we still going?
Like, no,
All right.
because like you
Keep
go
on.
to a supermarket, like we've just been down to
Yeah.
City Super, and literally the girl has eaten every single snack there. Yeah, like she goes,
Expert, she can
no,
walk
she
there.
is. She goes, don't get that. That is fake marketing. Yeah, don't get that. That tastes like shit. Yeah, this is one of my favorites ones. Yeah, but it's very fattening. Yeah, this one is really good for like before you go to bed. This is what I eat before I go to bed. Yeah. If you want the dried fruit, they don't actually sell it here. You need to go all the way there into that store and get those dried ones, yeah? Very serious poker face. She's taking this shit really seriously. Yeah, do not mess around with this girl and her food.
Like
Yeah.
one time, I remember you guys said to me, I'm coming over. I was like, yeah, what for? He goes, yeah, we're going to go down to collect some Cinnabons. I was like, you went all the way here. You guys, right? All the way from Hong Kong Island, come over to this side to get some Cinnabons.
That's because cinemas don't exist in Shanghai.
We got to go again.
Yeah, we got to go
Yeah.
again. You still owe me an apple crumble.
Yeah, I'm going to make you one. Don't worry.
Okay, thank
Come
you.
over to my house. I'll make you one.
Okay.
Okay, so the last one, unfortunately, is vintage Rolex or vintage Patek.
Vintage Paddock.
Oh, easy one, right?
Mm.
Very easy for me.
Well, unfortunately, that ends this part 2 of Daniel Sum's podcast.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, guys. You're great hosts.
Thank
thank you so much. Please stay tuned for another episode on the Shanghai.
Yeah.
No, actually, the Waiting List podcast. But of course, stay in touch with Daniel's Instagram at Shanghai Watch Gang.
Yep.
So stay
Reach
tuned,
out
guys.
to me.
Yep,
Except
reach
for
out
all
to
you
us.
weirdos. Go and find Lung Lung instead.
No DMs anymore. So see you guys soon and have fun.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Waiting List podcast. Hit the subscribe button and the next episode will come straight to your phone as soon as it's ready. Whilst I'm here, please remember to leave a nice review and follow us on Instagram at the Waiting List podcast.